One of the most decisive battles of World War II, in fact of all time, began on the beaches at Normandy in France. On June 6, 1944, more than 150,000 American, British, and Canadian soldiers came ashore to liberate France and defeat Nazi Germany. The Supreme Allied Commander, General Dwight D. Eisenhower, knew that a carefully planned strike was the only way that they could defeat German soldiers stationed on the shores of France. Eisenhower, along with his generals, created a brilliant plan of attack. Allied planes would drop paratroopers behind enemy lines. At the same time, thousands of ships filled with Allied troops would cross the English Channel. The troops would storm the beaches, and the Nazis would have to retreat before a massive invasion force. The Germans had a large number of troops in northern France, but by 1944, many units consisted of inexperienced soldiers, led by a few older, seasoned officers. The invasion started with bombings from the sky a day before D-Day, on the 5th of June. Fleets of Allied bombers took off to deliver thousands of tons of bombs. Some bombs were dropped away from the invasion zone to mislead German forces. Other bombs were used to destroy German railways, airfields, military bases, and coastal artillery batteries. The Germans were not expecting Allied planes to drop paratroopers into the French countryside just after midnight on June 6, 1944.
They came from the west in great waves, almost silent, their giant shadows covering the earth. Suddenly, what looked like huge confetti dropped out of their fuselage and fell quickly to earth. Paratroopers. All eyes were raised, and the flag started firing.
While paratroopers landed, Allied ships carried troops across the English Channel. The Allied naval forces bombarded the German coastal defenses to prepare the way for the landing. Allied troops fought their way ashore despite underwater mines and constant machine gun fire. Though many Allied soldiers died in the attack, there were more than enough to gain a foothold in France.
White lines were racing at us through dark masses of water. Landing craft spit out brown clumps of soldiers at the beach. They were wearing flat steel helmets, so they were Brits. Then I spotted tanks. 1, 2, 3, a whole pack. They drove up on the coastal road toward us.
The Allies kept advancing through France, driving the Germans deeper and deeper into the country. Meanwhile, Allied forces from Italy invaded southern France, and the French resistance rose up against the Nazis in Paris, the headquarters of the German occupation. Under pressure from all sides, the Germans continued their retreat through France. The Allies entered the city of Paris on August 25, 1944. The Allied invasion of Normandy had paved the way for the liberation of France. During the weeks and months that followed the invasion, thousands of German soldiers were killed or captured. Even the German 352nd Infantry Division, which had fiercely battled the Americans on Omaha Beach, was defeated. Within several months, the Allies liberated all of France and began to concentrate on conquering Germany itself. The Nazis continued to fight against the Allies, but they could not overcome them. The Nazis surrendered on May 7, 1945. Less than a year after the invasion at Normandy.